Welcome to Almost Agreeable.
Almost Agreeable.
With your hosts, Chris Nellison and Ed Harris. Hang around and listen to opinions on sports, movies, music, and whatever else pops in our head.
And welcome to another episode of the Almost Agreeable podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ed, and of course, as always, with me is Chris. Today, we're going to be talking about Week 5 football.
It's a wild week.
It's been, it's still going on currently as we're recording, but we're
not much to see.
Not much to see.
I think there's 2 minutes left in that game.
We're walking away from the Bills really getting a beating.
Yeah,
by the Titans.
I want to get into it, but I'd also be remiss if I didn't shout out to the 2020 NBA champion Los Angeles Lakers.
Dude.
I didn't have a horse in that race.
That game was never even close with, in the Heat's hands.
Well, it's wild, that Game 6. So I had just come off another high from an earlier football game that day we'll get into later. And I wanted to watch the Seattle-Minnesota game, which was on concurrently with the Laker game. But really, I was able to watch most of the Seattle game, running back and forth, because that game, like you said, was not close.
Yeah, they were up by 30 at the half, and I was looking at the updates, or I was following the game along on my phone while I was watching the Seahawks game, but I was just I don't even need to be following this. This is their 17th championship now, so tied with the Celtics.
Yeah,
and
very nice. I like that.
Feels good, yeah?
It does feel great. All the adversity this season, playing in the bubble, no fans, pandemic, the social issues that we're facing as a country, which they were really instrumental in putting a message out. There was a lot of adversity for everyone in the bubble, so congratulations to the Miami Heat, who had a great playoff run through that Eastern Conference. I think some of the most exciting basketball I've watched in a long time happened in that bubble.
It was pretty good. It was very entertaining. I think I guess just to close out this, my favorite thing was that I saw an Instagram post, and it was about Jimmy Butler. It's Jimmy Butler, after going to these finals, what have you learned? He's I'm pretty decent.
Well, hey, shout out to LeBron number 4. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. He is pretty decent.
He is pretty decent.
So, switching gears here.
So let's go.
Take it from Thursday night.
Let's go all the way back to Bucks Bears Battlestar Galactica.
And Eli Manning 2.0, maybe, in Nick Foles? The new Brady vanquisher?
Is Brady, does he have dementia?
I know that he forgot that it was, I don't know if he forgot it was 4th down. He just didn't know it was 4th down.
Does he have dementia?
Maybe he's just so used to getting the, because if he was a Patriot, that happened in 2007, he'd be you're right, Tom, you get 5 downs. Just kidding. Now is 4th down.
I don't know what to say about that game. It was strange, but not really. It was only strange because we're so used to seeing Brady just, of course he has time, he's going to drive down the field, and then they win it, and then they didn't.
Not at all. When he threw that pass on 4th down, which was long past the 1st down marker, he didn't need to do that, I was
terrible.
And then it all made sense when you realized that he didn't even know it was 4th down.
Yeah.
You're he thought he had another down. No wonder he fucking threw that.
Once I saw him throw that, and then he was just very calm, cool, collected, still in the pocket, and then I saw him flash up the 4, I was oh no, baby, what is you doing?
I get that Nick Young face, what?
Yeah.
Bears are 4-1.
Bears are 4-1. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Bears are 4-1, and Jimmy Graham is still Jimmy Graham. He's doing what he's always done, and you can't have Jimmy Graham in a game without the announcer saying, he used to play basketball.
Yeah.
And, he did. And, I honestly wish that he would have stayed with New Orleans, because he 100% would have had the most yards, receptions, and touchdowns all time for a tight end. Easily. But then he leaves. He goes to Seattle. He goes to Green Bay. He goes to the Bears. I think it's a bad move for him. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's not even like we paid him a baller amount of money. It's just So I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's still like top 5 touchdowns all time for tight ends though.
Yeah, but it's not going to be growing.
Yeah, it's not going to be crazy good with Big Dick Nick and not Mitch Trubisky anymore.
I don't know. I don't know what the Bears do at quarterback moving forward. It's not like Nick Foles is exactly young anymore.
I mean, so just for comparison, he was drafted the same year as Russell Wilson. Doesn't he seem a lot older?
It sounds like he's been in the league a lot longer.
Right?
It was only within the last, when was Russ drafted? 2012?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me it was not even maybe 8 years ago that Big Dick Nick threw like 7 touchdowns on the Raiders?
Yeah.
Still haven't forgiven him for that.
Yikes. So yeah, I mean, Bears are 4-1. They win by 1.
You know what the division is right now?
4-0, 4-1.
And then Poop Town.
And then 1-4. No, they're 1-4. Vikings are 1-4, and then Lions are 1-4 as well because they beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, so it's 4-1-4. No, it's
4-0,
4-1, 1-4, 1-4.
Yep. No. I guess Detroit has a bye, so they're 1-3.
Same thing.
Same thing. We know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right, but moving on to the next game. Some of these games didn't really mean anything, but some of them very much so did.
I feel like the ones that stand out we can talk about longer because the games that weren't a big deal we can mention.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going down the list I have here. But Panthers-Falcons. I didn't get to see a lot of it, but that was an interesting one. Teddy Two Gloves, he's seeming to make it work.
What's wild?
McCaffrey is hurt. Yeah, I can't bring myself to say that and not correct myself. Right. McCaffrey is hurt, and I forget who they brought in, but that guy was killing it.
Look, to see the Panthers they lose the first 2 games of the season, and then they rail off 3 straight without McCaffrey, and Teddy has just gotten better every game.
Yeah.
If you watch the 3 games that they've won, every game after he's played better. And I think it's a big surprise for a lot of people. I think at the beginning of the season, I thought he'd have a good season. And with the downfall of the Falcons right now, it's like, and the way that the Saints are playing, Panthers could be in a battle with the Bucs and the Saints for maybe taking the division. The way that Teddy is just growing every game. And I say grow. Already he's an established quarterback. He has been. But in this system, on this team, in a new part of his career, post-injury as a starter.
Now, isn't this the exact opposite of what we were thinking, too? It's the
with
exact
the
opposite of what I was thinking. I was not thinking the Panthers were going to have any kind of contention to be in the spot that they're at right now. Of course, it's only 5 games into the season.
Right.
A lot is going to change, but definitely did not expect them to be in the position that they're in right now.
Well, I mean, they're in a position in their division. Just to talk about who they got to play in their division, they're going to play the Falcons. They got to play the Bucs. And they got to play the Saints.
Yeah.
So I can see them battling against those teams in the division. It's going to come down to the divisional games in that where the Saints don't. Drew Brees doesn't look good. Tom Brady doesn't know what fucking down it is. Matt Ryan, I don't know how else longer he's going to be in Atlanta. We can get to that in a little bit, but it's just what I did expect the Falcons to do bad, not this bad, but I just distinctly remember saying this is the downfall season of Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
I called that.
Yeah,
but it's going to be competitive for the other 3 teams in the division outside of the Falcons.
Is Teddy Bridgewater the best quarterback in the NFC South?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he's not. I mean, they got. How can you? No.
I don't know. You were just saying you got noodle arm Drew Brees.
He's playing the best right now of those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But no.
But no. All right, that's a pretty easy one. But I mean, Panthers win that game. I mean, not decisively, 23-16, but that W is a W. So they go up 3-2.
And then Dan Quinn gets fired.
Which
I've been calling for his head for a couple weeks now.
We've been calling for it for a while.
And the GM is off. It get kaput.
It's just been compounding since they fucked up that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Everything stems from that.
They haven't recaptured any of that magic.
That kind of happened with the Seahawks. Because the year after, they make the playoffs, but then nothing really happens. And then the year after that, they miss the playoffs. So they're calling for Pete Carroll's head. And so it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean that was the one missed playoffs. I mean Dan Quinn if they continued this and he was still coached, probably missed the playoffs the second season in a row.
Yeah.
With that roster, you can't do that.
They have so much talent
With
there.
their former MVP,
You have Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Like, I remember when they had Roddy White and Julio Jones,
right.
and that was stellar. Now you have Julio is basically taking over Roddy White's role, and Calvin Ridley is this young stud just
and
coming
you have
in.
Todd Gurley in the backfield.
Yeah, just the cherry on top.
And what they did in that game, and one of the drives they had, one of their first drives they had, they ran the ball behind Gurley and scored a fucking touchdown on the drive, and then he barely touches the ball after that. I don't understand. I mean, now I understand why they fired him. Obviously, he starts off 0-4. Maybe he saves his job with this win. But then the coaching decisions he's made, not just in that game, but all season, absolutely. I think he should have been fired last week.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not before a division game. It's really, I
I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. I'm pretty sure they're just going to be calling it a lost season, which they should. I mean, hard to come back, do anything with 0-5.
And then with a new interim coach.
Yeah, it's rough. But next on my list is Raiders-Chiefs.
Whew, I'm wearing a Raiders shirt right now, man. And I'll be wearing a Raiders shirt the rest of the fucking week. Maybe for the next 2 weeks, because we go into a bye, I can just sit on this.
Very true. That is nice. You come off a big win, huge win.
Big win.
Like, statement win in the AFC West, and then you just get a bye just to
bask in it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's probably the biggest win for the Raiders in a few years. And I've heard a lot of pundits talk. I watched the game, obviously, from start to finish. And I guess what I saw was a Derek Carr that I have not seen since 2016. And another thing is that early in that game, the Raiders were down 14-3. Derek threw a pick. And I remember being like, here we go. Like, he's going to crumble now.
Yeah.
Like, here they come. And he just legit, unlike in the past, he just said, okay, I threw a pick, whatever. I'm just going to go back out and fucking keep playing. And
it just happens.
And he did. And I think the biggest difference, and I say this 100%, the Henry Ruggs coming back from injury opens that offense so fucking much.
It
I don't
opens
think
a lot.
we lose. We win at least one of those games against the Patriots or the Bills if Ruggs is playing.
It opens up a lot. And like you say, like you see 2016 Derek, I see a completely different. I see the confidence of 2016 Derek, but I see a completely different play. Like, completely different. He is doing really whatever he wants. Like, he's making things happen instead of hoping things happen.
Well, that's a good way to put it. I want to talk about the kind of blueprint of playing defense against the Chiefs started with San Diego a few weeks ago. And you saw what Belichick was able to do. And the problem with both of those teams is that they couldn't put the points on the board when they had the ball.
Yeah.
For New England, obviously, it's unfortunate. You had to play with Brian Hoyer and
Stidham.
Stidham, yeah, that guy. And they were not putting points on the board, but their defense held Kansas City for 3 quarters almost.
Yeah. This is one we already talked about. Like, the quarterbacks basically just lost them the game.
With this, we have an offense. The Raiders have an offense now to where if we can just do that, like, play the defense to kind of contain the fucking firepower that is the Chiefs' offense, and match and throw points and throw touchdowns and score. And another thing is the length of the drives, like the time consumed.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, that's how you win. You keep the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hands. That's the best thing. That's the best thing you can do for this team. So like, I was looking up some Raiders stats, and they haven't. I mean, so I looked up the last decade. Okay, they have scored this is the 4th time since 2010 that they've scored 40 points or more. Not a thing. I mean, anybody scoring 40 points is like, that's a good game,
Yeah.
But like, it happened against the Jets in 17, the Browns in 18, and then against Denver in 2010. So that was the last 3 times they scored more than 40 points, and then you're doing it to a divisional team who has a great defense.
They do. I mean,
this is. I know I was saying last week was the prove it game with the Bills. And it kind of was, but now this makes a statement in the division.
And a big one.
A big one. And this is the first time Pat Mahomes has lost by more than 7 points.
Yep. And it's the first time he's lost to the Raiders.
Yep.
I wanted to point out there's a parallel I'm going to draw later on from this game into the Seattle game. And so when we get there, I want to draw the parallel. But just I'm going to point that out now. And then also, Derek Carr and Pat Mahomes both recorded a tackle in this game.
Very true. Yeah.
Okay? They both threw their first pick of the season and both made the tackle on the ensuing return. So I think it's a fun little fact there. But yeah, I could talk about that all day. We can move on from that. I'm still gonna mention it 1,000 times.
Perfect. Big win. Shaking things up in the AFC West. But all right, then we have the Cardinals and the Jets. Cardinals win 30-10. I mean, there's nothing surprising there. Kyler Murray he has 380 yards.
Yeah.
He throws for 380 yards.
They bounced back. They're coming off a loss.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, okay, yeah, Cardinals are human. But then, I mean, you expect them to win against the Jets, but they look good doing it. It wasn't an ugly win. Yeah,
it wasn't just like they're scraping by a win. It was like, okay, they are
who we thought they were.
But they are who we thought they were.
They're a playoff contention team. They could be in the conversation for maybe making the playoffs. If they just shore up some of the... They don't have like defensive problems, but they need to make plays on defense. They need turnovers. I think they shore up that. They can be a force in the playoffs.
Right.
All right, and then we have...
wait.
Oh, what? Oh, wait.
You talk about the Jets.
Oh, my God, that's right. How do we forget?
Forget that they released disgruntled running back Bell.
Oh, my goodness. Released disgruntled running back Le'Veon Bell.
Let me just point out this money situation, okay? Le'Veon Bell just signed last year a 4-year, $52 million contract.
Oh.
This is year 2. They're going to owe him $6 million more for just this season to pay off the rest of that. But he already made $28 million for 18 games.
Dude. What a life. What a life.
He didn't play most, so he's hurt.
God, I don't know, man. I don't know. They have Frank Gore and Le'Veon Bell, and they're not doing anything with either of them.
No.
I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. You get rid of Adam Gase?
Yeah.
They're trying to do like a whole turnover. Like, are you tanking for Trevor Lawrence?
He ain't coming.
Because he's not going to want to go to the Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
But yeah, I just so they released Le'Veon Bell. I don't know. Do they go into full rebuild mode?
They just did that. I don't. What's the record for like rebuilds in a 5-year span?
I don't know.
The Jets are gonna break it.
You can do a constant rebuild.
Oh,
Maybe that's where they are.
Oh, the new Browns.
Nah. Chargers are the new Browns.
Oh Lord, I don't know about that. We'll get into that when we get to the Monday night game.
All right. So we had Eagles Steelers.
Okay, tell me this: the Steelers are obviously well coached, good team. Why do they always play down to their opponent?
There's some teams that just do that. I don't know what it is about the Steelers. They lose to bad teams and they beat good teams. That's what happens.
But they haven't lost this season.
Which bodes well for them. They're beating the bad teams.
Because there was a season when they were doing pretty hot, and they came into Oakland at the time.
Yep.
And just got beat.
They got destroyed.
And I was like, what the fuck?
You're like, what are we even doing?
I was like, this is a lost season for us.
Well, and that was actually a close game most of the game.
It was.
I mean, Eagles, it's not like they had it, but they were in the game the entire time.
There was never a time until the very end that you were like, oh, yeah, the Eagles are going to lose this.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the end of the game.
And that could have been a very big win for the Eagles. I mean,
they needed it.
They could have been first in the division if they would have won that.
That fucking division.
Oh, boy. But, I mean, yeah, Steelers 38, Eagles 29. We'll see what happens because Pittsburgh has the Browns coming up and the Titans and Ravens coming up.
Yeah.
That's their next 3 games.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they fare against, unbeaten teams and teams with 1 loss.
Mm-hmm. Good teams, division games.
Yeah. So this'll...
Actually, that division's fucking wild. Aside from the Bengals, you got, 4-0... 4-1,
4-1, yeah.
That's nuts. They might be the best. Well, yeah, they might be the best division in football.
They have the best record, absolutely, right now. Yeah.
It was the NFC West for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, and then we'll get to the 49ers. We'll get to the 49ers. All right, but then, speaking of the NFC West, Rams and the football team, it's the same score as the Cardinals Jets.
I think the only thing I want to talk about in that game is the return of Alex Smith. and how big of a moment that was. Like, make a feel-good moment.
That was huge. I mean, no matter you're a fan of football, you love to see that.
Yeah.
It sucks that he came in and wasn't. He kept getting sacked.
It was not when you come in and play the defensive player of the year.
Well, yeah, the Washington football team, they don't have that offensive line to protect him at all, and so it was like every sack you're seeing, it was just like you're grimacing, just like ugh.
Yeah, I remember my butt cheeks were clenched every time they fucking had pressure on him. But good to see him come back from what almost killed him. That injury almost killed him.
Yeah, I don't care if he gets another win. Seeing him back on the field, throwing passes, making runs. He was making a couple runs.
With his family watching.
Yeah,
and
that's a big moment.
It was a warm moment. I enjoyed it.
And then we get to a AFC North divisional game, Bengals and Ravens. Just feel bad for Joey B, man. I just feel bad. Like, that is what Seattle's O-line has looked like circa 2016 to 2018. But Russ can, he's elusive. Burrow's a big guy. He can still run, right. But...
No, it's like we were watching the Bills-Titans game tonight, and the announcer was talking about how Josh Allen runs the ball, and they're like, and we watched another quarterback run the ball yesterday, and Joe Burrow, and I was like, yeah, he needs to stop.
He has
if he wants to live.
He has nothing else he can do. What else is he going to do?
I don't know.
He's just letting the defense in, like, oh yeah, sure, it's sack the quarterback. We don't care. Well, I'm getting fucking paid. Whatever. I don't know. The Bengals are the Bungles and have been for the last 5-6 years. But we will see, because I like what I've seen from Burrow so far.
And
if he has
still
time,
got Joe Mixon,
yeah, if he has time and he's able to actually let a play develop, it's really nice. Like, he's able to actually go through his reads. He looks good. But, I mean, that one they lost 27-3 to the Ravens. I mean, you can't expect to be in that game. Not with that high-powered offense.
I don't know. There's anything we can... I mean, yes, you're right, but there's anything we can take from football, it's that anyone can be beaten on any given Sunday. I mean, no one gave the Raiders a chance to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't bring their best game plan. Raiders stuck to theirs. I'm not saying the Bengals were, I thought they were going to beat the Ravens in that game, but, I mean, they have to play them again.
Yeah, true. But are you going to tell me that, okay, so let's say the Chiefs and the Ravens are on the same level, even though they're not, because they already beat the Ravens. But are you going to tell me that the Raiders and the Bengals are on the same level?
Not at all.
So it's just not the same.
Thank you for ripping apart my analogy.
All right, let's move on to another divisional game, Texans-Jaguars.
Hey, the Texans got their first win.
Texans get a win.
Oh, the Romeo Crennel era.
Hey, I love it. Hey, now oldest coach ever.
Yes. Just
kind of walked into the job, which, screw it. I mean, I think he's going to be fantastic. He's been around the league forever. And I'm glad to see him in this role. I know it's one game, but I'm glad to see him in this role, and we'll see if they make any changes to that, if they let this roll and how long they let it roll. But I mean,
we'll just have to see how he finishes the season, right?
Yeah.
It could be a situation which was mishandled, but in Cleveland when they fired their coach and then Freddie Kitchens was the interim and then they gave him the full-time coaching job the next season. Didn't work out, but if Crennel can lead them, to maybe compete in this division after going 0-4.
That's huge.
Then that's huge. Maybe you probably keep him around.
Yeah. I mean, Deshaun Watson, I think he's third or fourth in yards, passing yards this year.
Well, we know about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
We know that he's a stud who needs to grow still, and that's the biggest thing about him. We've talked about it several times, is that he needs to mature as a decision maker. I'm not seeing a crazy amount of growth. I don't know what's up with that team. I mean, that defense really has some big names on there that has made some big plays, but I really do think that they're going in the right direction, getting rid of Bill O'Brien. So we'll see what they can do now. It just sucks because, we've always talked about, we keep talking about, their first 4 games, that schedule. Rough. Right. So, I don't want to say beating the Jaguars is a great win, a win to hang your hat on, but also it's their first win. So it is a big win.
It's a spark.
In a new era.
Could be a spark.
Could be. Let's see.
We will see. Now let's get into the Dolphins and the 49ers.
My goodness.
Now that's Fitzmagic.
That was
That's Fitzmagic.
That's also Garoppolo making some of the worst throws I've ever seen.
Okay. Has Garoppolo ever been great?
No. No.
No.
No.
No, he hasn't been. He has
but also,
been.
you should still be good against the Dolphins.
Let's not count out the Dolphins, though.
I'm counting out the Dolphins. No, I'm just kidding. You're right. I can't count. I just wanted to say it. No, the Dolphins. What Brian Flores is doing is so underrated right now. I feel like now after that win, it's not. But before that, I think you and I, and when we had Tony on the show, talked about the kind of culture that Brian Flores is bringing into that organization.
Oh,
and
yeah.
his blueprint moving forward. Like, that's a young fucking team outside of Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, everybody on that team is under 30 except for him.
Yeah.
They are going to be, well, they should be good. They should grow into being a productive team in the coming years. And
they play hard.
They play hard. I mean, Gesicki, that tight end, is a beast. Oh, my goodness. And he loves Fitzpatrick.
Oh,
he said, if I could play with him for 15 more years, I would. So, I mean...
Maybe we'll see Fitzpatrick play that long. He might not be on the Dolphins all the time. But
No. He's going to make his way to every team, hopefully.
he's already played for what?
Eight, yeah.
8 teams?
He's played for 8 teams, and so we'll see if he can get the other...
Wait, let's flip the script here. I want to talk about 49ers right now. I want to ask you straight up, when do the 49ers get their next win? Because here's their schedule for the next 8 weeks.
Oh, my God. Okay.
You fucking ready?
Okay.
At home versus the Rams, at New England, at Seattle, versus the Packers, at New Orleans, at Rams again, Buffalo, and then Washington Football Team.
Okay. I am going to say Patriots. Yeah.
You think 49ers are going to beat the Patriots?
I think the 49ers are going to beat the Patriots. And that's what sparks them to...
Wake the fuck up?
To wake the fuck up. Yeah, to right this ship. They're going to New England, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the one that wakes them up.
I don't know, man. I mean, the official thing during that game is when they benched Garoppolo, it was reported that it was to protect him because the game was out of reach. I didn't think at the time it was. But also, I was listening to fucking Colin Cowherd today, and he said, and I quote, Jimmy Garoppolo, sell your house. End quote. And I had to pull the car over almost.
Dude, that's excessive.
I think it is too.
That's excessive.
It's a super Colin thing to say.
No, but I think that it's hard to say with the Rams. It's very hard to say with the Rams. It's a divisional game.
It's a game. And they play them twice in that 8-week span I just read out.
But I think they can go to New England and they can scrape out a win.
What do they go in that 8-week?
Probably to, let's say 3-6 actually. They're going to be
3 and 5.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 3-5.
Math is hard.
Dude, it is.
I think they go 2 and 6.
That's a rough schedule though.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I posed the question. I think they win one of the games against the Rams and they beat the Washington Football Team.
I feel like there's such a disparity between teams in the league right now.
Well, it is a crazy season with no preseason or OTAs or anything like that. COVID's happening. Games are getting delayed.
Yeah.
So it's a weird season. Every major sport is going through a weird season right now.
It's been a strange one.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to an interesting one. Another afternoon game, Colts-Browns.
Fucking Phillip Rivers, dude. Fucking Phillip Rivers, okay? Because that defense is so good, but when you consistently give the ball back to the other team, and a team like the Browns, whose run game is amazing, and Baker has not played the greatest games up until this point, but is still eking out wins.
Yeah.
And this wasn't an eke out because Phillip Rivers kept turning the ball over. He had a fucking safety on intentional grounding.
He did. He had a safety on intentional grounding. He had 2 picks, as did Baker. But man, you can't keep getting away with this.
It's just like I really am. Because I could give a fuck about Phillip Rivers. You know how I feel about him. But at the same time, it's like, when do you say, maybe we don't play Phillip Rivers?
Who do you play?
Jacoby Brissett?
They tried. There's no answer. That's the thing right now. I think it's a bad... I think this is a bridge year. I don't think they're going for anything. I think this is just a bridge year.
I don't think so, because they were competing in that division last year, and they thought that they probably got a quarterback who played with Frank Wright in San Diego. They thought they could take him to the next level. Now, here's the thing. Philip Rivers is a great quarterback over his career, but he's fucking making questionable decisions on the field. Like, he's very careless with the ball, and I don't like that. Old Philip Rivers could be, because most of the time it paid off. But he's not the young gun he used to be. He's not the fucking slinger of the ball that he used to be in San Diego/LA. I'm going to say San Diego because he spent most of his time down there.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch, even though I hate him. It's tough to watch. I saw him struggling in that game when I was watching Red Zone, and I was just like, good.
Well, let's just talk. So the Colts are 3-2, okay?
Yeah.
Their 3 wins are against the Vikings, which are a decent team, the Jets, and the Bears, which is a 4-1 team. And their losses are against the Browns and the Jags.
Divisional game. But the Browns are a good squad.
It's a confusing team.
It's too soon, I guess, in the season to figure out what the fuck is going on in Indianapolis.
And it's not like it's nowhere near a lost season. They're 3-2. No, they have a winning record. It's like nowhere near, but
it's not panic yet.
No
but
panic.
I think by week 8 we'll have a good idea of where this team's going or what they could do.
Of course, there's games every week where you're like, oh, this team should win that. This team should win that. This was legitimately one of those games where it's like, I don't know.
No, I definitely had no idea.
So it's some of those Browns win. They didn't eke out the win. It was 32-23.
I mean, but you take away the pick 6 that he threw. That's 7 points. You take away the safety. That's 2 points. That's 9 points.
Yeah.
That's turnovers.
Yes, absolutely. But they happened. You know, that's one of the things you got to be able to battle back from turnovers.
But also, if you just clean that up, you're not in a position. You're just don't turn the fucking ball over. Phil Rivers, this isn't fucking San Diego circa 2009. Okay, you can't just throw the ball because your arm strength isn't what it used to be. It's not going to get there as fast as you fucking think it is.
It's not. There's a very large amount of older quarterbacks in the league. Like, how old is Philip Rivers? 36?
30-something. I think he's 38.
I mean, we have a large amount of plus 36-year-old quarterbacks in the league. I don't know if we've had that amount ever. I mean, we have Breeze, Brady, Rivers, Roethlisberger.
Is Aaron Rodgers old too?
He's 37, I think.
Okay.
36, 37.
And he's not playing at a point where it's we're going to keep playing this 38-year-old.
He's the worst of all of those.
Yes. Okay. Good. Let's agree.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens next. Browns have the Steelers next, so we'll see what happens with that. But the Colts have the Bengals, Lions. So a couple of games
some bounce back time.
Yeah, some bounce back time, and then they have a pretty rough schedule. They go Ravens, Titans, Packers, Titans, Texans, Raiders, Texans, Steelers.
Oh, Raiders play the Colts this year?
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
We're going to pick off Philip Rivers 9 times. Let's go.
So they have a rough schedule. Yeah. It's like the rest of the schedule, basically.
Yeah, they better win these next 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to need to, and then, 50-50 the rest of them.
Yeah.
And then we come to the last afternoon game was heartbreak Giants-Cowboys.
I'm not ashamed to say that I teared up when Dak was being carted off. I remember watching it in real time because we were watching it live here at the house. And when it happened, he was obviously in shock. And the announcers kind of just, I don't know if they were trying to protect the audience from looking at his ankle, but they were referring to a calf or a cramp injury. And I was it was disturbing. And then just to think about everything Dak has been through, being such an advocate for mental health and not getting the long-term deal done that he deserves. And, it's so uncertain his future now because he doesn't have the long-term contract. It was all that in a microcosm of thoughts going through probably his head, but absolutely mine. And this is why I teared up. I really did.
Yeah, in a couple seconds, in a couple minutes. Everything all kind of culminates at once, and it's just... rough.
I just felt so bad for Dak.
Yeah. I mean, they go on to win the game 37-34.
Because they have the best backup in football.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't say another backup that competes. I mean, yeah, we had Jameis, who was a backup, but like, is he better?
We'll never fucking know. He got his eyes fixed and we can't see.
Is he better than Andy Dalton?
We don't know. Andy Dalton's led his team to the playoffs a couple times, so.
That is true. But yeah, I mean, it's a win that Dallas needs. They're leading the division. Were they 2-3?
Yeah.
2-3. So they're leading the division. Really, it's great that they have Andy Dalton. I mean, he is not anywhere else, but I'd say maybe a third of the teams.
Well, they probably don't have to change their offensive scheme at all, really, that much.
Not all that much. Honestly, like, Dak can rush, but he averages about 19 rushing yards a game. That's right near Aaron Rodgers, which is about 18 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're kind of the same play quarterback. Like, Dak is leading the league in passing yards. Not overly crazy in touchdowns, but he had a good amount of rushing touchdowns as well. He was playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
He was doing really well.
This was his year, but he was going to prove that he deserved that money.
It's not like they're going to need to change up the offense a lot.
No.
Do a lot of different schemes because Dalton can make those throws.
Yeah, he can. So, like I said, prayers up for Dak. Speedy recovery. Come back stronger than ever. Absolutely, mama mentality. Take that. I mean, I know that Dak's a strong guy mentally. So, yeah.
Yeah. Prayers for Dak. All right, and then we get into the Sunday night game, the Seahawks and the Vikings.
Another case of why the fuck are we playing down to... Actually, Minnesota's... Nope, still a case of playing down to your opponent.
Seattle came into this game having a great, not just in like a great rushing defense. And then you have Dalvin Cook, who, I mean, that's kind of what happens,
And then he got hurt, right?
And then he got hurt for the third quarter. And in those 2 minutes is when Seahawks scored 3 touchdowns. Like, we're literally just skipping over. Okay, here's your game recap. The first half happened, and the Vikings are up 13-0. So that's your first half. And then second half, Seahawks have the ball. So I'm like, okay, this is usually when it happens. This is when it starts. They punted. And then their second drive in the second half, kind of confusing myself, but they just go down the field and score in like 4 plays and get a touchdown. And then Kirk Cousins throws a fumble. Seahawks pick it up and then do 2 plays, touchdown. And then the next play Kirk Cousins does, he throws a pick that KJ Wright just snags out of the air. And then 1 play again, touchdown. So in a span of about 2 minutes, 2 minutes game time, the Seahawks went from 13-0 to 13-21. And then I'm just super hype. It's just been fantastic. It's been amazing. Then the Vikings come back. They score a touchdown, go for 2, because it's 19-21. They go for 2. They miss it. So then Seahawks are up. Okay, Seahawks are up 21-19. Vikings score again. They just go for the kick. So they're up 26-21. And then in like clutch time, Russ throws an interception. Like a couple minutes left, like halfway through the fourth quarter, Russ throws an interception. And then the Vikings are like, oh, okay, cool. Awesome. So we're just going to march it down the field. And then they keep going down the field. And then it comes to 4th down. And they're at like the 10 or so.
Like 6 inches to go. It's like 14 inches.
Yeah. Like just like blow the ball past the line. And then you have a first down. Why don't you kick that field goal?
Okay, so this is the parallel I was going to draw from the Raider game. So I don't disagree with Mike Zimmer's call because the 2 quarterbacks in question, Russell Wilson for that game, Pat Mahomes for the other game. In the situation, if you get the first down, game's over. If you kick the field goal, it's still a 1-possession game, but they have to get touchdown and 2-point conversion. You want to win the game now. You want to win it now. I get it. He made a decision. I agree with it. Same thing happened in the Raider game. We had a 4th and 1, and it was like, do we want to get the ball back to Pat Mahomes? And he could possibly tie this game and go to overtime and probably beat us. no, we want to win it now. And they went for it. Difference is, Raiders fucking got it. Now, people are going to question Zimmer this whole fucking week about it, and I say right now, I don't disagree with this play call because you go for the win right there. And then if you don't get it, you trust your defense to stop. Although, this is Russell Wilson we're talking about, so I'm drawing parallels because it's two quarterbacks that you don't want to give the ball back to.
Yep.
They both made decisions.
So I get that. Like, okay, you get that first down, but it's a bigger problem if you don't. It's a bigger problem if you don't get it. Because then you can lose. At that point, you kick the field goal, you're playing for the tie at that point, and you're hoping that all of his heroics, if he gets down the field, he has to get a touchdown and then get a 2-point conversion, and then, and only then, is it still only a tie. So a lot needs to happen on the other end. When what they did, they allowed that win condition for Seattle. And that, as we know, that's what Russell Wilson is best at since he's gotten into the league. So he went 94 yards in 2 minutes and scored the game-winning touchdown.
Okay. And then, in classic Cousins fashion, throws a fumble to end it.
And then he threw a fumble to end it, another one. And that was just great because it ended, and then it was like, yep, it was a fumble. The game is over.
Right.
It's one of my favorite announcements for anything.
Good. I have a stat for you once we get into the hot routes. So we're running short on time. We got 2 games to talk about still, and then got an interesting stat for you about your Seahawks when we get to the hot routes.
Perfect. All right. Monday night game.
Poor Chargers.
Poor Chargers.
Got the soft doink to lose the game.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I was watching this game. Both Chris and I were watching this game separately, and I just text him, midway, maybe like third quarter, and I text him. I just say, Herbert good, Breeze bad.
That's exactly what happened.
Because that's what it looked like at the time. If you look at Breeze's stat line, it was not bad. He threw for 70%. He threw for like 300 yards, over 300 yards. So like, it's not a bad stat line, but it just wasn't.
He just looked bad.
It just didn't look good. He was making some weird decisions. Chargers, just anti-Seahawked it again.
Yeah, I did.
And I mean, they were up 17. That's on them.
Chargers are a good team, though, man. I mean, the Saints are not looking good. The Chargers are on the uptick. That's all I'm taking from that game. Is it reaffirmed what I think about the Saints is they don't look good, and they have a great young quarterback in L.A.
That NFC South is up for the taking.
It is.
For anybody.
Yep. And then, I know we're running short on time, so the game tonight. Fuck Josh Norman, first of all.
Dude, for some reason, fuck Josh Norman. I don't know why, but all night, I mean, even before he got tossed, and then he was getting real
big mad.
He was big mad. But even before that, he was fighting with who's number 13 on the Bills. He was fighting with 13 on the Bills, just getting real snippy with him. And then he got tossed. And then he was getting
ran over again the next play.
And then he got ran over the next play. Derrick Henry could have chosen to go to the right, but instead he chose to go to the left and run over Josh Norman again.
He was only looking for Josh Norman.
So, once again, fuck Josh Norman, apparently.
And then can't say enough about the Titans with the 2 weeks of not being able to practice, not playing a game. They come out and beat a undefeated team and kind of reaffirm their position. Like, hey, we're still here. We're still here. Fuck the Bills who?
I mean, honestly, earlier today, I was saying, like, hey, don't fool yourselves into thinking, like, the Titans are, like, a great team. I'm eating my words.
Well coached. A lot of it was self-inflicted by the Bills, though. So many fucking penalties. Game drive killers, game-changing penalties.
Sloppy game.
Like roughing the passer on third down. Various false starts. Offsides. Those things are killers.
Just such a sloppy game, and they were in it, but honestly, watching it, I don't feel like they really were.
No, they once that third quarter started and Josh Allen threw another pick, it was just like, okay, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not an anomaly. This is one of those games. I mean, you have 2 undefeated teams, and you're kind of I mean, I was kind of looking down my nose at Tennessee, like, okay, yeah, we'll see, because Josh Allen's kind of been balling, but
Now we see.
They came and showed out. 4-0. 4-0 Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Okay, so we have hot routes.
All right.
All right, first hot route. We get power rankings every week from various sports media outlets, right? ESPN, Bleacher Report, all those guys. But who are your top 5 right now in the NFL after 5 weeks?
Top 5 in the NFL.
In no particular order, because that'll take too long.
Yeah. Okay, I'd say Chiefs. Ooh, top 5. Okay, I put Ravens in there. Seahawks. I'm still going to put the Bills in there, even though they just lost. And you can't count out the Packers because of all the weapons they have.
Okay, so stats for 2 of those teams. Seattle deserves to be in the top 5. They do. But Seattle defense has given up the most yards through 5 games in 70 fucking years. So the defense is leaky. Don't forget that. The Packers, who I disagree being in the top 5, have beaten the Vikings, the Lions, the Saints, and the Falcons. Now, you talk every week about how the Vikings are good, but I beg to differ now. The Saints are their only, maybe, signature win this year. Who have they played?
I mean, this is the same thing they had last year. The exact same thing they had last year. They walked into a 13-3 record. So it's just one of those things.
And then they got fucked up in the playoffs.
And then they did.
So they'll be exposed.
They will be exposed, and this is kind of what I'm saying. Like, there's so much disparity between the league that it's like there is really good teams, and there is just kind of everybody else. And then, there's really good teams, there's whatever teams, and then there's really bad teams. But there's only a couple of those.
Yeah. Hot route number 2. Who is your dark horse MVP and why? Now, we know the favorites are like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen's been talked about. Dark horse MVP that are not those guys that could emerge.
Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger could have a monster comeback year, and that would just play into so much. I mean, like, this is just a veteran quarterback coming back. If they can take the division, I mean, they're 4-1 or 4-0.
They're 4-0.
4-0, yeah, they're 4-0. I mean, Chase Claypool just had a crazy game, and he's had some. I mean, he still has a big arm. He still has a big arm, and he's been making plays. So I think that's my dark horse. He could come out, and if he performs like we're used to seeing for the rest of the year and takes the division over a previous MVP,
yeah,
that's huge for him.
Okay, I like that. Okay, last one. We have seen in the last 3 weeks the Chief offense has been challenged. Do you think that their route to repeat, as we've said from the beginning of this season, is as clear-cut as we predicted?
I think so. Them going up against Bill Belichick, that's not an anomaly that they stymied him. That's not an anomaly. Bill Belichick he's the only team that, the Patriots are the only team that Pat Mahomes has not scored a touchdown against in the first half. Like, right. It's happened 3 times, and it's all been against the Patriots. So that's not an anomaly. Against the Chargers. The Chargers are a nice young team with a great defense, but they just have to put it together on offense and actually... It's not like they're turning over the ball a lot, but this team needs to put it all together and make it actually work. You can't just rely on this defense and we'll see. You know, they need to shore things up on the offensive end. So I don't think that's a surprise either. Really, the only surprise of the last 3 games is the Raiders, because the Raiders are currently known for their offense right now, and they're getting much, much better at defense. They're
young.
They're young, and they're having some role stars. Like, they're having some players come out and make plays. They're having some guys come out and make plays. So that is the one surprising thing that, I mean, they still scored 14 in the first half. So it's
24.
Was it 24?
24 at the halftime.
Okay, that's right. 24-24 at the halftime. So
nobody scored in the third quarter.
Yeah, so it wasn't surprising because, I mean, they still scored 32, which is that's a solid score. That's like
still put up a lot of points.
That's still a decent amount of points. So they just honestly let their defense failed on that one. So I still think it's Chiefs all the way. I still think they have the best overall team in the AFC.
Okay. All right. Well, what a fun fucking week 5, man.
Oh my god, it was ridiculous.
It was.
Yeah, it was sitting there watching the Seahawks game with my wife. She's like freaking out in the first half, just like getting upset, and I'm sitting there just like,
this is fine.
This is just what happens.
Yeah.
I
actually was the most subdued through any football game I've ever watched because I came in with no expectations, right?
Yeah.
My wife was like, "Can you do that every week?" I was like, "No, it's probably never going to happen again." Like, I never screamed. I never paced. I never shouted. Nothing like that. I was calm. Even when the game was within grasp of victory, I was still sitting on the couch stoically.
That's psycho.
That's
psycho.
Yeah. For those of you that didn't know me, that's fucking that's weird. All right. Well, that's all the time we got today. I love talking football, especially when we have a week as exciting as Week 5. Again, prayers up for Dak Prescott. Ed and I get to chill out this week with buys for both our teams, so it's going to be nice. But we'll be back next week. Week 6 has some interesting storylines coming into it. So, I'm Chris.
I'm Ed.
And that has been Almost Agreeable. Thank you for listening to another episode of Almost Agreeable. You can catch all new episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Almost Agreeable.